Treasurer Jim Chalmers has declared Australia has one of the strongest budgets in the G20 after a stronger labour market, meaning more tax revenue, and government savings saved $18 billion off the forecasted budget deficit in the last financial year. Joining me live is Liberal Senator Jane Hume. Jane, it's good to see you. First of all, your reaction to another 000 outage at Optus, this time in New South Wales. Thankfully, the telco says everyone who tried to call 000 is okay, but it's forced another apology.
Yeah, this is really confronting news, Kenny, and the Coalition is calling on the government now to have an independent inquiry, independent investigation into these 000 outages, into the 000 network. This is a piece of critical infrastructure for Australia, and we can't simply allow outages, whether it be caused by Optus or potentially another telecommunications organisation, to put Australian lives at risk. If the government were taking this seriously, they would have called an independent investigation by now.
OK, to the budget now. Does Labor need credit for reducing the deficit to $10 billion from the forecasted $27.9 billion, or is this just bracket creep in action?
Kenny, if you can spin a positive spin on a deficit, well, I've got a bit of swampland that I'd like to sell you. This is quite extraordinary coming from Jim Chalmers and Katie Gallagher. A deficit at a time when we have full employment, when we have increasing inflation. This is simply bracket creep. It's bracket creep and high commodity prices coming back from 2 years of budget surpluses that they claimed was due to their exceptional economic management. Again, nonsense. That was all due to commodity prices and bracket creep. And now they're saying a higher deficit's good news? Well, give me a break. This is a government that has allowed their budget to run out of control. There's 27% spending to GDP ratio. That's the highest amount of spending we've seen compared to GDP in 40 years. Katie Gallagher and Jim Chalmers are running the budget down. There's nothing to be proud of here at all. They're simply delivering nothing more than revenue that's based on bracket creep. That's the hard working of all ordinary Australians. It's nothing to do with their good economic management.
The Treasury is refusing to release its modelling of cutting costs, including its impact on the NDIS scheme. Are we getting all the information?
Well, this is the question. You know, the only saving, potentially, that the budget was including was a cut to the NDIS. Now, they said that they were going to limit the growth of the NDIS to 8%. We'll wait to see those final budget outcomes to see whether they have, in fact, succeeded in that. But if they haven't, well, why won't Treasury release the modelling? I mean, this is something of a concern. The NDIS is growing out of control still. Something needs to be done. Mark Butler has said he'd like to take the growth down to 5%. That's certainly something that the Coalition would like to see. We've said that if there are sensible reductions to the NDIS to be made, that the Coalition will support that. But if they won't release the modelling, if they won't be upfront about how they're going to do that, well, I'm not entirely sure how the Coalition is going to be able to support the government to get spending under control. But at the moment, with 27% of GDP, spending is well out of control. That's the highest spending to GDP in over 40 years outside of a pandemic.
Just finally, Shadow Foreign Affairs Minister Michaelia Cash has backed Andrew Hastie's outspoken criticism of migration and energy policy on Sky News, calling it robust debate amid tensions within the Liberal Party. Do you share those sentiments with Michaelia Cash? Do you think it's a good thing Andrew Hastie has been so public before Susan Lee has delivered a Coalition policy platform?
Well, the Coalition is working on its policy platform right now. There's a number of years before the next election. We want to make sure that we get this right, that we're listening to ordinary Australians. I can see where Andrew Hastie is coming from. He wants to see lower energy prices so that we can bring back manufacturing and an industrial base to Australia. And that's a sentiment that I think is shared by a number of Australians. Labor has allowed migration to run out of control. It brought in 1 million migrants over a period of just 2 years. That's put pressure on our infrastructure, it's put pressure on congestion, it's put pressure on housing. Winding that back to sensible levels is an important policy. Those things should be able to be said out loud. They're important parts of public debate. The most important thing now, though, is that the Coalition gets a chance to get its policy agenda right, that it works hard to make sure that we're listening to Australians, what it is that they want, what their hopes and dreams are, and delivers not just a credible opposition, but a credible alternative government at the next election.
OK, Jane Hume, appreciate your time this morning. Thanks so much.